It's still hustle and bustle in many parts of West Texas, even with oil at $45 a barrel. But oil industry personnel say out on site, it's just a little bit different. Right now, family members we've spoken to all say pretty much the same thing. They're in grieving. They're trying to just spend time together. In a number of residences, they've even built these sheds. Take a look inside. It's where the water pump is and the filters are housed. Point guard Patrick Beverly had quite the busy Wednesday. That evening, the basketball players suited up for the Rockets game against the Brooklyn Nets. Greg, thanks so much. Odessa police are investigating a double stabbing that happened at two different houses in West Odessa.
So far, it's been a pretty crazy evening. It started off, it wasn't bad. It was just some dust, just some light wind. Then over the next couple of hours, the water came in, the wind came in, the lightning came down terribly. But the worst part of it all was the hail. When the hail came down, a number of people had to stop and actually turn around.
And officials in Pecos County say they're fed up with illegal dumping. Whether it's corroded barrels, glass bottles, a pile of old leftover tires, or an oil spill, they say it's time to take action.
Macy, we've been here, like you said, since this morning, since 9 a.m. It is still a very active scene. Actually, you can see over my shoulder, Red Cross has come here. You can see they actually just pulled the bus out about a half an hour ago. Law enforcement said around 7:30 this morning, a Texas Department of Criminal Justice bus was traveling from Abilene to El Paso with 15 people when the driver hit a patch of ice, went over the guardrail, and dropped down through the median and hit the top of a moving train. Now, 2 officers and 8 inmates have died. 5 others were transported to the medical center hospital. A number of law enforcement agencies are here working together, picking through all of the rubble. You can see them working. It's really a mess out here. DPS had a chopper going around. Red Cross, like I said, they're here. Everyone has come together to work on this. Now, I-20 is back open, but law enforcement says make sure if you're traveling in this area, you're giving yourself extra time. Conditions with the precipitation we've had today, conditions are going to be a little slick, and as that temperature drops again, it could get icy. For now, live in Penwell, Sarah Strackhouse, CBS 7 News. Macy, back to you. After this explosion, loved ones should feel relieved. Sheriffs on site say they're shocked that only 2 walked away with minor injuries.
Big vibration and the smoke, it was way up there. I mean, way up there.
Miles away, oil field workers could hear, see,
I'm in a 1-ton truck and it shook it.
and feel the gas explosion at the Ramsey Natural Gas Processing Plant north of Orla, operated by Anadarko.
Well, it's a terrible thing. It's in the oil industry.
Terrible, but the hundreds evacuated from the scene have much to be thankful for.
We're so glad that nobody got hurt. I mean, I heard there were some minor injuries. On something like this, that's great. I mean, because they could have easily had some casualties.
Anadarko says in a statement that all 200 workers on site were accounted for and all gas lines have been isolated. More than 5 different law enforcement agencies worked together from Texas and New Mexico to put the fire out.
That involved fire, and we have some combustibles. It's a hazardous material scene.
And luckily, we worked together good with New Mexico, and luckily they were here since they're closer.
Reeves County Sheriff Art Granado says that OSHA, as well as Anadarko and local law enforcement, will be investigating to try to find out how the fire started. Anadarko says that they're so thankful for how law enforcement responded and took care of their employees, and they said that the fire is completely contained. Reporting live in Reeves County, Sarah Strackhouse, CBS 7 News. All throughout the day, even while here at Fort Concho, Ambassador David O'Sullivan was answering questions about current events and giving his European perspective on the Paris attacks on Friday. Now, his message all throughout the day was, do not be afraid. On the heels of the explosions heard in Paris Friday, today it was a cannon, symbolizing a visit and a union of countries.
Europeans don't get to see very often. I mean, this is the West. This is the stuff of, Western movies.
Ambassador O'Sullivan says 3 to 4 days of each month he tries to see new parts of the country, landing him in San Angelo for the day. And he wasn't the only visitor to the area.
Different countries, different people are coming together.
Oh, the Ambassador O'Sullivan, my goodness, he's an intelligent man.
So I think the economic and commercial ties between Texas, the United States, and Europe are something that I'd also like to emphasize.
While Ambassador O'Sullivan encourages the support of an upcoming trade agreement intended to boost business, questioning today mostly circled around the massacre in France.
I think the first thing is we should not give in to the tactics of the terrorists, which is to make us panic, to make us overreact, to become hostile to certain certain people in our societies, to exploit divisions.
On the other hand, a division, or rather distinction, that he does want to see is between members of ISIS and refugees.
The process by which you select the people who eventually would be granted resettlement in the United States is extremely rigorous.
All day, the ambassador stuck to his message. Victory against the terrorists is not being afraid to live.
This is pre-DVD, pre-red box.
No, we had VHSs growing up, but I just don't remember seeing that.
No.
No. We had them. Little Mermaid, my go-to VHS.
It's getting too much attention from everyone. I mean, I'm sure you had a ton of callers this morning.
Yeah, and everybody's beating up Brian, lying Brian, and this kind of. I mean, all pants on fire. I mean, you got all kinds of people crawling.
And those don't leave. Those little slogans, they stay with you.
They do.
The wife of presidential candidate Ted Cruz, Heidi Cruz, visited UTPB today to speak about her husband. 2 Midland moms have been arrested for injury to a child. Midland County Sheriff Gary Painter says that 21-year-old Erica Tarango. And today a ceremony was held in remembrance of 22-year-old Zach Landry, who died in a car crash earlier this month. An Odessa resident says that she woke up to an unusual scene this morning. Just across the street, a truck ran into trailers. Some pictures from yesterday's alleged stabbing near Burnett Elementary in Odessa. Then Crime Stoppers needs your help in finding a man who's accused of stealing a package from a home right after FedEx dropped it off. Mother Nature could not stop hundreds of bikers from making their way through the Permian Basin. Despite rain, Daryl, thanks so much. Despite the weather, it was a great turnout at the fundraiser in Greenwood for Dan Horton, who's been fighting a brain tumor since 2008. The observatory at One World Trade officially opens to the public today. And it could be a little bit of a helpful slowdown, right, to get a chance to reboot, rework everything.
Well, those of us that have lived our entire lives out here, I think we can say that, a little bit of a slowdown is okay.